So in this video, I just wanted to talk about some of the rules we need to remember when using Super Spline. So when we run it, let's just click it here. We can see here we get a warning saying Super Spline cannot run without an object selected. Okay, so let's create an object. Let's just create a cube. All right. Okay, and let's just add a show vert IDs. Okay. Right, so we can see here we've got our vert order. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it's going to build our spline in that order. So let's try and run Super Spline. So we get another warning saying selected object is either has no vertices or has not been saved. Please select a saved mesh or curve and then run Super Spline. So the way Super Spline works is that it needs to read the saved object file. So if we save this object now, save current object, cube. All right, and now we try and run Super Spline, and it'll ask us if we want an open or close spline, and there we go. It's built our spline for us. And we can see that looks very nice. Okay, the next rule of Super Spline is for when we have multiple objects or an object with multiple layers in it. We've got a spline here on layer 2 and we've got our main mesh on layer 1. Okay, so if I try and run Super Spline on my path, again it says it's not been saved. So if we just nip into our object here, hit F7, you can see our layers have not been named here. You don't have to worry about naming the layer with the actual mesh in it if you don't want to, but just give the actual path or mesh that you're going to be using for the spline control, give that a name, save that, and then we head over again and we've got path in the name there, and then we can create our spline. Okay, the next rule is for when creating a spline control with two splines. So we have the ability for Super Spline to take a rail on each side of a track, and it will automatically calculate the banking between those rails to create your Super Spline. So important rule here is you need to make sure we've named the layers as we mentioned before, but if you're using a dual spline, just make sure you have left and right, left underscore and right underscore before the name of your spline, so that it knows which way is which way, and it can calculate the banking. So I am just going to select both left and right, and then when I run Super Spline, I want a close spline. It's just going to take a bit longer because it's got a few more calculations to do. I'm going to leave this up so you can just see, how quick it actually is. Certainly a lot quicker than doing this by hand. But here you can see our spline has been created. If I just pull the grid size down, you can see we've got loops and everything, and there is no twisting at all. That follows the bank exactly, and that means that when we create animation, I'm just going to create a quick animation here, calculate length, and then I am going to hit animation test. There we go. And now you see our box move around. You'll see it banks and loops absolutely perfectly. And that's just a huge time saver. Okay, I just want to talk about probably the most important rule with Super Spline, and that is point order. So here we got this little path layout, park layout, and I want to do some Super Spline around this area of path here. So I'm just going to select some points. I'm going to start here and then select around here. And this is going to be our path for our Super Spline. Okay, and then I'm going to hit Control P to create a spline, and then I'm going to cut that and paste it into there. Okay, so let's just have a look what we've got here. I'm just going to go in point mode, select all the points, I for point info, and then edit all. And you can see here we've got a very strange point order. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's all over the place. So if we create a spline control with that, it's going to be a complete mess. So what we need to do is to sort that out now with let's just deselect those, and I'm going to come into a new layer with the background layer being the spline. I'm going to go create points, right click, and that's giving us a vert, center that, and I'm going to multiply. So let's go rail clone. I'm going to have 40 points, orientated, align to start, and then we've got this. Okay, so now if I just select all of those, Control P, now let's have a look at what we've got. You can see here this is all nicely in order. So when we create our Super Spline, that's going to work nicely for us. And you know, we can tweak things so you know the curve's a bit smoother. We can get a sharper corner if we pull points closer together. So this is a great thing about spline control. We get really precise placement, so we can really kind of get things where they need to be, which is pretty difficult at the moment with the standard spline control, especially if you're building something manually. Okay, so let's go something like that. We'll make sure that we get rid of our previous spline, and very importantly, I'm going to name my layers. Okay, so I'm going to send this to layout. So I've got my path selected, run Super Spline, I want to close spline, and there we go. Okay, and you can see there it looks like there's some some errors there, but actually if I just select all and set them to 90 degrees, you'll see that actually there's not really an issue there. Okay, so we can leave it that way up, and we can add instances around that to create trees or what have you, lampposts, you name it. And I'll be showing you a full demo of this scene later on in the series. Okay, join me on the next one and we'll have a look at basic usage of spline control.